What's up, everybody? Welcome to the video. Chris Pennell here, breaking down the Advent Health 400 at Kansas. And I had some high hopes for this weekend's race. Wasn't really looking forward to Texas last weekend. And while it was chaotic and I'm sure it looked fun on TV, but really the only passing was just half the field wrecking out every single time, or just pit road, unless your name was Ryan Blaney and Tyler Reddick. Both those guys were incredible last week. And once again, I think Ryan Blaney, the best car at an intermediate track. And we have seen that all season long. But I think Kansas and Homestead are probably the next gen era's best tracks. So let's keep our fingers crossed for another great race like last year when we saw Chris Buescher and Kyle Larson duke it out at the very end. But anyway, if this happens to be your first time here, what's up? My name is Chris Pennell. I break down NASCAR DFS each and every single week on this channel. Videos on Saturdays, live streams on Sundays. Come in, say hi. Always a good time. Usually around 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And if you do end up enjoying today's video, make sure you leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if brand new. Let's dive right into it. All right, let's talk some strategy here for Kansas. It's basically going to be the same exact thing as last week. It's just another 1.5 mile track. Same amount of laps, 267, which I believe equates to what, 186.9, I think, of the Dominator points available to us this weekend. So you're looking at basically 2 Dominator builds, or unless qualifying happens like last week, you can get 1 Dominator up front and then some place differential in mid-pack or back of the field that has the potential to also be race winning contenders. So it's just going to depend on how qualifying goes, but at the very least, you're going to want at least 1. Now let's take a look at our weekly figures. So I'm going to show you 2, but the first one's going to be the 6 race sample size that we have in the next gen era since 2022 at Kansas. And as you can see, it's kind of the same. It's always typically the same guys up top here for these intermediate tracks. It's always some combination of Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, and William Byron. Now, keep in mind, a good chunk of this is coming from 2022, 2023, and also 2024. And Ryan Blaney, like we always have to take account in the context for this. Ryan Blaney this season specifically has been insanely good at intermediates. And I'm going to take that as being way more important than what they've ran like in 2023 here at Kansas. But as we go to the next figure, you're going to see some things change around because that's baking in some more 2025 data. And of course, this has no 2025 data since this is specifically looking at Kansas. But if you are someone that really takes into account track history, which, you know, Kansas, we always kind of see the same guys up front. Anyway, it's the big 4, Byron, Reddick, Hamlin, Kyle Larson. Then you have that next tier of Ryan Blaney, who's also been very good here. Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace has a win, I believe. Then Logano, Buescher, AJ Allmendinger as well. And then if we take a look at this next figure here, it's going to be just 2024 and on data intermediates, also Kansas. And you just see the big 3 or big 4. Sometimes Reddick sneaks up higher, sometimes he sneaks down a little bit lower, but it's always the big 3 of Larson, Hamlin, and William Byron. These have been just the cheat codes of intermediate tracks. Then that next tier, which Tyler Reddick always kind of toes the line, I should say. Either being in tier 1 or tier 2. Sometimes he just can't make up his mind, but he's always fast. Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain. Then you have that cluster of guys that are usually always in the top 10, or at least fighting for it, of Christopher Bell, Alex Bowman, who's been really fast this year, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, and Bubba Wallace. Now, I do want to show you one more figure, and this is the tire that they're running this weekend, and this is only 2025 data, so this is about as good as it gets as far as recent performance. Now, a couple of things that need to be taken into context once again, because we can always look at the numbers, but sometimes when you're watching the race, you understand that some guys, you know, they qualified poorly, so they have to run most of the race trying to get up to where they should. Some guys that qualify great, they're going to have a bit of an advantage on this chart. And who's someone that always qualifies amazing? That's William Byron, so it really bumps him up. And I'm not saying he's not good. He's obviously been incredible in the next gen era intermediate tracks. I'm just saying it's bumped up a bit. Even though the speed has been there, everything's great, William Byron's fine. But you're going to see Ryan Blaney a little bit lower on this list. And why is that? Well, it's because they just can't qualify the 12 car well. So he spends half his race trying to get towards the front, then something stupid happens and he's just stuck there and he has to get back up every single time. So don't think just because Ryan Blaney's lower in this list doesn't mean he hasn't been as good. I mean, he has the legit best car intermediates we have seen this year, especially in this tire. Kyle Larson, another guy. He came out during Darlington, which is in this data set. We're looking at Texas, Darlington, Las Vegas, and Homestead. I believe we have the 4 race sample size for that. I don't think I'm missing one. Don't forget Darlington. Kyle Larson wrecked early, came back out at the end. That's going to hurt the running position a little bit. He's better than what this number indicates, even though it still looks fantastic, of course. And some more data to look at because I'm feeling generous, and this is just some of the data you can find over on the spreadsheet over on Patreon. But I just find it to be a little bit more useful than practice most weeks. I'm not saying to throw practice out. It's just sometimes I feel like practice can be very hit or miss. And this data seems a bit more useful just to like view as an expectation of, hey, this guy's probably going to be faster than what the practice speeds indicate, because he has been good like every single time almost at these track types. So just one poor practice session shouldn't really throw you off too much. So if we're looking at these specific tire codes this weekend, which is mainly 2025 data, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, Alex Bowman, Denny Hamlin. I mean, like, yeah, that makes sense. We've seen Chris Buescher have a ton of speed at these track types this year, and I really don't think the Vegas odds kind of reflect how good he has been so far this season, at least speed-wise. I know sometimes the finishes aren't there, but sometimes they are. Alex Bowman, he's been the same way, very quick. Josh Berry, also another driver that probably flies a little bit under the radar, but the speed has 100% been there. If we're looking at similar tracks, pretty much the big four here: Denny Hamlin, Reddick, Larson, William Byron, also throwing Ryan Blaney there as well. But it is pulling in some older data, so some of these guys that might have had a lot more speed in 2025 could lag a little bit behind, because I think Ryan Blaney, of course, should be a bit higher. Intermediate's also going to bring in a lot of older data, but you always see these guys up front. It makes a lot of sense. 2025, this is going to look a little bit funky. Like, you're going to see JJ Yeley up here. That's just a little bit broken. Just disregard that one. But yeah, I mean, this 100% makes sense. These are the guys that I expect to be up front. But finally, we're here, the driver by driver breakdown. But I do mention one thing first. It's a free video, guys. You let me do my plug and feed the dog. But if you enjoy the best NASCAR DFS community out there in baseball, since that is completely in full swing now, link down in the description or the pinned comment for the Patreon. If you are a new user, you can come in and test drive all the tools completely free 4 weeks, since I do offer free trials now. So there's absolutely no reason not to come in and check it out. And I'm not going to sit here and go over every single thing that I have to offer, but if you want to pause or take a screenshot, be my guest. But everything I do cover, I do for the trucks and Xfinity series as well. And that's included in the optimizers and the sim tool, which most people are going to charge an arm and a leg, but very affordable over here. And you can simulate up to 10,000 lineups at once. You can see which drivers stack up the best in tournaments, or which lineups have the best ROI before the race starts, whether it be for cash games, small field GPPs, or the large field kind of contests. Everything is covered in there, and I do think you'll find it helpful. So if you want to check it out, you know where to find it. Link can be found down below, but let's get into it. And it's the next day. Practice and qualifying just concluded. I think we got a good amount of data from Saturday's practice sessions, so let's head over there now. And qualifying, I mean, there's quite a few chalk spots, but they're not from the big dogs, which I do like that better. I like when we have like these mid-price guys that are going to be the place differential plays instead of the big dogs, because I think it makes the builds just a little bit more interesting. But let's cover the practice data here. We do have the consecutive lap averages, which are always nice to look at. But let's focus on the lap by lap data first. Now, if we sort this by just their overall laps, some of these guys that didn't run as many laps are going to be skewed towards the top, like Brad Keselowski. I mean, was he horrible? No, but did he have the best car? No, he only ran 13 laps though. And when you run 10 less laps than Kyle Larson, you just don't have as much of a chance to fall off. So if you're looking at their best raw 1, 3, 5, 10 laps, it's obviously not going to be as good. You just, less laps you run, like SVG here at 9, that's going to balloon you up a bit. So it's one of those things you have to take into context. And I'm sure not everybody ranks it the way that I rank it here, but this is just how I do it. And the guys that show up at the very top, the 300 drivers: Bowman, Kyle Larson, William Byron. That's probably not surprising. We talked about Chris Buescher, I feel like, a lot in the figures and the strategy portion, and he showed up at the very top. He qualified well. I thought he was going to get the pole. Kyle Larson got him at the very end, very just like last year's race, so it's kind of funny. And Tyler Reddick. So I mean, yeah, it kind of matches up. I think the practice data looks pretty good and something we can certainly look at this weekend. Best raw 10 laps. We're going to see Larson, Buescher, Reddick, Byron, Bowman. It's basically just a carbon copy of almost the green flag speed data we were looking at prior to this, and just some of the figures in the plot chart as well. So I really like when it kind of lines up, because it makes my confidence level in these drivers feel better when practice matches up with how they performed this season. And then it's all kind of shown in these consecutive lap averages, which I guess we don't really have to take too much time to get into. We'll kind of mention it, I guess, here and there, going driver by driver, but let's do that now. So we'll start with the 5-figure range first. We have 5 drivers this weekend. And like I said, all the PD plays are going to be 9K and below. 9K and up are basically almost all in the top 10, and all of them are going to be in the top 15. I think the man of the hour is probably Kyle Larson, $11,000. He's going to be on the pole. If I was forced to play anybody in the 10K range, Kyle Larson would be my number one choice. He's great at Kansas, great intermediate tracks. The speed's there. He was fast in practice. If you're looking at the consecutive lap averages, first in the 5 through 15 lap runs, I see no reason not to like Kyle Larson this weekend, so I will be all about it. And if you care about the track history, that obviously shapes up well too. Does have a win, 4 top 5s in 6 races in the top 10 every single time, and he's been the best dominator. So why the heck do we not like Kyle Larson's got the track position, the pit stall. I mean, yeah, things look good here. Ryan Blaney, he has been so fast at these types of tracks this year. It might be, I mean, I'm going to probably use Kyle Larson in the majority of my lineups. So I need to find a pairing option, and Ryan Blaney is certainly one of those guys. I know they're the two most expensive drivers, but I think we should be able to easily make this work. I, of course, have not yet run projections or anything, so I'm not exactly sure how roster construction is going to look, but I feel like we could play Larson and Blaney together and then just drop down to this 3K range of Barry, Priest, Keselowski if we wanted, Himes in 28th, Dingers in 33rd. Like, I don't think the roster construction will be too hard because we're not going to have to play. Like, sure, there's some good plays and we'll talk about them, but I think the builds will probably end up feeling easy to make. But yeah, I like Ryan Blaney. I know he didn't look amazing in practice, but I cannot ignore what we've seen from him in this tire this year. He has been the best car, and this time he doesn't have a ton of place differential spots to make up for, which doesn't make him as much of a floor cash play. But if he's going to be under-owned in tournaments just because he's this expensive and Kyle Larson's right there, I mean, give me Ryan Blaney. Byron's good. I just feel like he's probably the less good version of Kyle Larson for this race. I mean, can he dominate? Absolutely. But if he just runs around the top 5 all day and doesn't exactly pick up a ton of laps led points, I'm sure he'll get some fast laps here and there, but I definitely have him a tick below Kyle Larson in the dominator category this week, and Ryan Blaney also gives me 3 extra PD spots. Love Denny Hamlin at Kansas. I mean, in Kansas, you kind of just expect Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin to be the big dogs here, and, you know, if you don't pair Blaney with Kyle Larson, you can go Denny Hamlin with Kyle Larson. I think they're all fantastic plays here. It's hard to find a bad play. I mean, there's a reason they're this expensive, but it's going to be kind of a mixing and matching game. So I think the majority of people will probably select 2 drivers in this 10K range, and then Tyler Reddick's right there with the rest. I mean, he should be fantastic. He was good in practice. I mean, I like them all. I'm going to mix and match. Before I run projections, though, I think my interest currently is probably Larson, Blaney, Hamlin as my favorites, but I don't really think you can go wrong with any of them. Dropping down to the 9K range, we only have 3 drivers here. Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott. I'm going to be honest, I don't love the 9K range. I know Christopher Bell has been pretty solid at Kansas, some overall very good numbers, one of the best average running positions, 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s, a good amount of dominator points because he usually qualifies on the pole if I remember correctly. But if I'm going to be so heavy on these 10K drivers, I'm probably just going to have to be lower in the 9K guys, and then plus we start getting into those hybrid plays of guys with place differential that can also contend for a top 10. So I'll probably just end up being lower on that range overall. I mean, they're good. They'll probably run around the top 10, but that's not exactly going to pay off too much. Now, FanDuel, you know, Joey at $9,000, starting at 5th, he finished 7th. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not a lot of upside, I don't think. 8K range definitely looks a bit better. I like this range a lot, and the 7K range is loaded, so 9K range, probably an easier one to skip. But just saying, it's the same old story with him, although he actually showed some speed in practice this weekend. Usually he practices horrible, he qualifies horrible, and he qualified worse than he should have. He had a somewhat okay lap going, then he ended up, I believe, getting loose. I forget which turn it was, but I'm pretty sure he got loose. I was watching it, and ends up qualifying 26. Ross Chastain won this race last year, and at intermediates, I mean, he's just always a top 10 contender. If you're looking at his numbers at Kansas, 6 race sample size, one of the best average running positions, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, some dominator points, 13 race sample size. I believe since last year at similar tracks, usually around 10th to 15th place drivers. So starting in 26, he's firmly in play, just not as cheap as he was in prior weeks. His price came up $2,500 from FanDuel last week. So just not quite as easy, but he's 100% in play once again. Bubba Wallace is a perfectly fine tournament play. He has won at Kansas before. I feel like more ownership will probably be on Kyle Busch starting in 35th for obvious reasons, and then Chastain, of course, starting 11 spots further back. So Bubba Wallace perfectly slots in as a good tournament play here, and his practice times weren't too bad. 15th in the 10, which, 8th in the 15, 6th in the 20. I'm assuming Bubba Wallace will have a borderline top 10 car, so I like that in GPPs. I don't think I really have to mention too much about Kyle Busch. If you're ever going to play him, I typically do it at the intermediate style tracks. He's cheap enough, and he starts in the very back. It's going to be hard for him to screw this up too bad. Although he'll probably find a way because that's what he does almost every single week. But his numbers at Kansas, I mean, they're solid. 12.6 running position, 3 top 10s. And since last year, which is getting rid of some of the 2022, 2023 data, he's still in the top 20. So at this price point on both sites, that is it's firmly in play, but I do think the Bubba Wallace and even Chase Briscoe pivots are interesting in GPPs. Now, Chris Buescher is a guy we have talked about a lot up to this point in this video because he has shown a ton of speed at similar tracks this year, especially on this tire, 15 green flag speed in this tire code this season. So the car is going to be fast. He almost won this race last year. He almost got the pole too. Just got beat up by Kyle Larson, which he just got beat up by Kyle Larson in the race last season. So it was a perfect storybook, but his car looks good. 4th in the 5, 2nd in the 10, 3rd in the 15. And I believe in the speed. The only issue is he starts 2nd. So you can play him with Kyle Larson. The only issue is, I mean, they both are going to have to stay up there. They're both going to have to probably lead some laps. Chris Buescher, I guess, doesn't exactly have to. He could steal some fast laps, finish 4th, and it's a fine day. But that floor projection is going to be so much lower than Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain, even with Wallace, even Chase Briscoe. He's going to be one of the lower floor projections on the entire slate. But I believe in the speed. He's a GPP play. Do not take him out of the pool. And there is some slight dominator upside here. 7K range. Alex Bowman, $7,800. He'll be starting in 21st. I think he'll probably end up being one of the higher owned plays on the slate. The only thing that might drive that down a little bit is just the massive place differential we have with Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, and then the 3 drivers at the very end of this price range of Berry, Preece, and Keselowski. So that might draw ownership away a little bit, but Bowman has been one of the fastest cars. He was one of the best cars in practice. Kansas has been a very good track for him. 5 race sample size, 7.2 average finish. That is second best tie with his teammate Kyle Larson, only behind Denny Hamlin, who has been a rock star here. One of the best running positions. He has 5 top 10s in 5 races. I mean, I love Alex Bowman. So if Bowman's going to be lower owned, I don't know yet. I'm just thinking, like, if this scenario does happen, if Kyle Busch projects to have higher ownership than Alex Bowman, give me the Alex Bowman. He should be really quick in this race. Ty Gibbs is tough. He's starting at 6. Could probably run around top 10, but the downside is pretty bad. I think the same can probably be said with Austin Cindric, although he has not looked bad in this tire this year. Just starting at 13th, there's so many better plays in this price range. It's going to be hard to get to, although the car doesn't look bad. Carson Hocevar in 22nd. I mean, at that point, just give me the PD plays. Like, all these guys they're chalky cash plays. I don't think I have to go too in depth here. I mean, they're just going to move up unless they wreck early, which is 100% possible. But Josh Berry is like the number 1 cash play on the slate. Noah Gragson kicking off our 6K range. Everyone's just going to be so enamored with these 3. It's just going to lead to lower ownership to guys like Noah Gragson or Corey Heim, just because, I mean, why not pick the guys that are starting 10 spots further back? And I'm going to have to agree. I mean, my projections, I'm assuming Gragson didn't look that great in practice. I think he can run top 20, sure, but I think these 3 can run top 20 as well. So it's just like, why not give me those 3? And I'd rather get different up top. Like, these are just so easy, such easy plays to get to. Like, if Hamlin's going to be higher owned than Blaney, just give me Blaney as my pivot, or, you could say that for anybody up top. Or if Kyle Busch is going to be chalkier than Bubba Wallace, which he 100% should be, I'll take Bubba Wallace instead, and then I'll get these chalky plays, if that makes sense. I would have really liked to play Daniel Suarez this weekend. The problem is he qualified so high, it's going to make that very difficult to do. But in this data set, I mean, he has looked pretty decent. Like, 13 race sample size, 12.6 average finish, 6 top 10s, but it's just really tough starting in 8th. Corey Heim, I'm going to play a ton of him in truck, so hopefully that goes well tonight. But I mean, the PD is there, yeah, but looks like he kind of practiced around there. Michael McDowell is a Saturday superstar. Eric Jones starting in 16th. Had some of the worst practice times overall, firing off. Got a little bit better in the longer run, but also less drivers ran in the longer run, so it's probably still pretty bad. Kansas, I mean, he's just been around 20th, 25th place. Did just have a top 5 mixed in there. He'll probably finish around 15th to 20th, but not a lot of upside. Same can probably be said for Austin Dillon. Probably going to run around where he starts. Average finish 17th here, 18th, 15, 20 place driver. I mean, it's not bad, but I'd much rather play Dinger starting in 33rd. I mean, he's been so quick in this tire this year, and you give me all the problem with Dinger has been he starts like 8th or 10th, and it almost makes him unplayable. I know the practice times look horrible. I'm kind of curious to see how this shakes up in the overall lap averages. So yeah, he's pretty low. But I just can't see AJ Allmendinger having like the borderline worst car in the field this weekend. I don't see what would have changed so much from the previous weeks. I know he wrecked last weekend, but he wasn't like he was the worst car in the field. So I'm just gonna have to play Dinger and trust the speeds we've seen this year. Ricky Stenhouse has been fine at these intermediate tracks, but I wish he was starting a little bit further back. Still would prefer Dinger there. I'm hoping we don't have to get down to this price range based off our builds. I just don't think we're going to have to too much, because if you select 2 of these 10K drivers, it's not like you have to force in a 9K guy that starts 35th this weekend. So I'm hoping we can avoid this for the most part. If we're forced to play anybody, it's probably going to be Ty Dillon starting at 29th. He just continues to be too cheap, $5,100. And he legit, I mean, it feels weird, but he legit has top 15 upside. And if you're looking at the practice numbers, he's way better than the rest of these bums. 19th, 16th, 9th compared to 26th, 33rd, 36th. So, I mean, yeah, Ty Dillon's definitely the cheap play down there. Justin Haley, practiced well, qualified well. It's par for the course here. John Nemechek, I feel like we usually get more PD upside. We don't have that this week. So, Haley might be the move if you're trying to get weird starting in 12th. He's dirt cheap on FanDuel. Like, he's free. So, if you need a pump play that can finish top 15 on FanDuel, Haley's your guy. But on DraftKings, Ty Dillon would be my preferred punt down low. But with that being said, that's all I got for you guys this week. So I hope you're enjoying. If you did, make sure you leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel for brand new. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or check out the Patreon for all the extra content, you can find the link down below in the description or the pinned comment. Hopefully I'll see you on the last stream tomorrow afternoon, and I wish you all the best, and I'll see y'all next time.